It's all, just Google it. It's so easy to find. Yeah.
It's awesome talking to you, dude.
Dude, this is such a
Great meeting
pleasure.
you.
Like I said, just to plug you guys real quick before I get out of here too. Just like you guys just been putting on for the local scene and bringing on a bunch of my homies and even people I don't know that have like discovered because of you guys. And you guys are kicking ass and working hard and putting on for Cleveland. So like much love, much respect, and
appreciate that.
I'm here because of like the respect you've won from the people that I care about and stuff like that too. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much.
Cool, man. And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. And this week we have with us Mr. James Begin.
What up, what up? Thank you for having me.
What's up, man? Thanks for coming down.
Happy to be here. It's right down the road.
It is literally down the hall from where you come a lot. You're here. You spend a lot of time in this building.
Yeah, this is where I record everything.
Another Signal Flow guy.
Oh, yeah.
Another Chris DeCola guy.
Best friend.
Yeah, man. And I know, you know, people might be getting sick of it. This will probably be another Chris DeCola, you know, love fest.
Yeah, we're just going to be worshiping the whole time.
Yeah, but he deserves it. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, he's kind of putting his stamp on a lot of things where at some point, you know, it's like the whole Signal Flow thing is kind of like really reaching out farther and farther and farther.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason to keep hearing his name, too. You know
Absolutely. Now, one of the reasons we have you on here, a big reason why we have you on here, because you actually have branched off from the Tropidelic thing for a little solo thing that you've kind of like done. You just have put your first release just came out in June.
Yeah.
Likewise, that was a single that you put out.
Yep.
You got another single coming out soon. We
Yep.
want to talk about all that, but what are you doing? I mean, like, is this? I mean, like, if people don't know, you do the trombone. You guys, because you guys have like a little horn section that you do with Tropidelic, but you also do a lot of the vocals. You guys do a lot of hip hop with the whole Tropidelic thing. You guys, if I was to explain you guys, it's kind of like if you know anything about Sublime, you can kind of start there, but it's not Sublime because Sublime, you went a lot of the punk way and they did a lot of the harder stuff where you guys tend to go a little more on the hip hop way. And you both do a lot of reggae type stuff though, and you can blend a lot of that into your music. It does the Tropidelic thing. It has like kind of an island feel to it. It's like whole that vibe. But you do a ska thing kind of too with the whole horn section and stuff. Yeah. And you blend all that together. It's really sweet what you guys do. Anybody that knows you, that's the draw to you guys is just that whole vibe that you guys have been able to create.
Hell yeah.
On your solo thing though, do you have the trombone out on the solo thing? Or are you doing the whole?
No. So like, I like people ask me all the time whenever like, depending on like who I'm talking to, like, let's say girlfriend's parents, meet your girlfriend's parents. And they're just like, oh, what do you do? I'm talking to them. I play the trombone. If I meet somebody in the streets, I'm like, I'm a rapper. So it's
sweet.
like, I definitely consider myself like a rapper.
Like a chameleon.
And, yeah, right though.
You can be whatever you want depending on who you do.
Right. But I was the singer in like punk bands all through high school and like ska bands. And then kind of like figured out I could rap after I saw Tropidelic play live once. Like before I was in the band, my high school ska band opened for them via a friend of a friend. They're like, oh, like, so when I was in high school playing in the ska band, all that was around, we were playing at Peabody's, all those spots. It was only metal bands and like rappers. That was all that was around. So we were like playing on all of these like huge metal shows that would come to town because we could sell tickets. So a lot of these guys, a lot of these local bands would put us on their shows and we'd be the only ska band, only whatever. So from a friend of a friend, they were like, hey, there's this other band from around town who's kind of doing what you're doing too. And like, obviously it wasn't exactly the same, but it was Tropidelic. So we started playing with them. And once I saw Rhodes start rapping on stage, I was like, oh man, like, I can like kind of do that too. And like always like kind of rapped on the side, like through middle school, high school, just like with friends and stuff. So once I got that going, I ended up joining Tropidelic, and that's when I kind of started taking on more of like the rapper persona, if you will, in my own way. Like I don't like try and be like a rapper.
No. It's not
conventional sense, but yeah, if somebody were to ask me, I would definitely say I'm a rapper. That's like, I can sing as well. I do play the trombone. I do play the drums, but I'm a rapper. Like
and also you guys do even choreograph some stuff on stage, you know, where, you know, like it's kind of funny because you have like a multiple frontman kind of thing going on up there too, where Rhodes is his own kind of frontman, but he's more of a laid back kind of figure up there. He's not where the horn section itself is really where a lot of the action's going on, and you guys could choreograph these moves together, and you guys got it down, man.
Sure.
And it changed. You know, it's kind of like it's like a bipolar show you're watching up there almost sometimes, because you guys too, you guys can really do that even within a song where you can be real. Like I say, it's almost like that Islander type feeling that you're just floating on the wave type feeling, and then you'll go into something that it rocks, and it's, you know, it's grooving, man. Got a lot of groove all of a sudden. You guys blend really, really well. All these different things that you guys are doing really well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, it helps that you guys are all talented.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it helps.
No, I think a big part of that too, especially with like just like the different personas that are on stage, make it more like mass digestible to a lot of people. Because say you don't like rap and you see me rapping, you might be like, oh, it's not for me. But then you see Rhodes sing and you're like, oh, I do like that. And maybe you're more of a rap person. You see me and you're like, oh, like I do like that. Like, and our guitarist Bobby, like he's like very much a metal guitar player. Like,
yeah, right. He even looks kind of like he even has the whole.
Yeah. Well, he's like endorsed by Dean. He's like the only reggae guitarist I think ever to be endorsed by Dean Guitars. Like, so I don't know. We kind of pride ourselves in like having something like for everybody, and like being able to just kind of switch between genres and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, you guys, like, there's always that band that, you know, like even like all the metal bands will like, even though they're not metal. Like, like there's always these bands that, you know, you're like, everyone just likes them. And I got a feeling like when you guys, if you were to look out at your crowd, I think you would see a lot of different types of faces and people out there versus, like it draws everybody. Everybody kind of likes this music.
Yeah. Well, that's like funny too. It's like, I find myself like meeting a lot of people who be like, man, like I don't like rap, but I loved what you were doing. Or like I'll find people who be like, oh man, like I don't like ska music, I don't like whatever, but you guys were great, like whatever. So it's like we love changing people's minds and like opening people up. Yeah. I think a big part of that is just that like you just can't deny like the energy of a wild live show.
Yeah, right, man.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like I always like say too, like I'm an entertainer before I'm a musician. You know what I mean? It's like I can play music, I can do whatever, but it's like I pride myself on being an entertainer.
You can see it.
Like, you can
see it.
I'm all about the live show. Like that's like where my like priorities are. Obviously, you have to record good music. You have to make good music, write good music, and I love that process too. But I love being on stage. And honestly, too, I don't even care what I'm doing on stage. Like I just like pretty low key guy throughout my day to day. But it's like when it's time to be on stage, like we perform and we entertain, and like that's what we do.
Are you able to make a living just doing music now? Have you made it to that point?
Yeah. So it's kind of like, when we're home from tour and stuff, I'll pick up like odd jobs and things of that nature. But I mean, I guess I don't have to.
I mean, you guys got a lot of material now. I mean, Tropidelic itself has got a ton of material out, like 7 albums or
something like that. Yeah,
and that's just the albums. You got tons of EPs. You put out tons of singles on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the road like over 150 days a year, so it's like having like side gigs like that is like very difficult even in itself, even if we wanted to have them. Again, too, like I do pick up jobs all the time just to be real as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to supplement shit and you got to keep it going. It's like, you know, whatever the hell, like we just hustle. We all hustle in every aspect of our lives. So like when I'm home, like I do like work gigs, but yeah, like very blessed and can't believe I'm even saying it. Music does pay my bills, and that's tight.
That is cool, man. When you can figure that
It's
out.
a dream come true. It's a dream come true, you know?
Yeah, you really, that's a really cool thing that you guys have. I don't think, you know, I think you guys have kind of niched your own thing. I like to use Sublime because there's just certain little things in your songs that just reminds you of that.
I mean, yeah, it's great.
The reggae thing definitely brings that to life, but it's just like they had niched their own thing at that time. There was nothing like Sublime when it came out, really. At least nothing that we heard over here in Ohio.
100%, yeah.
And that's what you guys are, right? I mean, like, and what's really cool about it is that you guys represent this area too. Like, it's kind of funny to think that Tropidelic came from like the Cleveland area.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that comes up a lot, and like something we talk about in our music a lot too, is just that like I will meet people at shows all the time, like whether it's at festivals or playing wherever, and they'll be like, oh, like, where are you guys from? Like, or, you know, people just assume California or someplace like that. We'll tell them Cleveland, Ohio, and they're like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, right.
But I mean, that's been like such a goofy thing about it too, is just that like trying to make it into the national scene, playing the kind of music we do out of Cleveland, Ohio, is just a wild thing. Like it doesn't exist here.
Right.
Like I said too, like you know, like when I was in high school, even too, like bands like that, like weren't around here. It's like we're a metal and we're a hip hop town, and that's changing. And like, you know, there are like tons more people coming up and like changing that, which is great. But it's like I I mean, we even watched like a lot of these bigger like reggae bands and stuff too, who used to skip Cleveland. Like we throw our own festival and stuff in Columbus and things of that nature. Like we're seeing like bigger bands in the reggae world and things like that start playing Cleveland because it's become a market, dare I say, like, because we kind of opened up that world to a lot of people. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
right.
and that was like a gift and a curse to us coming up. It's like, if you're from our area and you like that kind of music, for a while, we were your only option. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
There wasn't like
Yeah.
a band playing around town on the weekends and stuff that you could go see if that's what you liked. It
Right.
just didn't exist here. And, I think we all feel very proud of the fact that like, it's like kind of become what it is. And like, we've been able to like do what we do being from playing reggae
You're
music from
representing
Cleveland, Ohio. Like, you know what I
your
mean?
hometown and take this
Yeah.
stuff elsewhere and be like, yeah, we're from Cleveland, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of that too is like, again, like just like anybody from Cleveland just has like the pride of like being from Cleveland.
Yeah.
And that's like a big thing too, is that like, I don't know, like a lot of this could be much easier if like our band left and moved to California or moved to Florida and like went to like where all this shit's like kind of happening.
And
You
made
know,
it
a lot
there.
of it's happening through touring anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter where you live per se.
Right.
But like building those relationships with people, like even us like hanging here at the studio. I met you guys because I'm around the studio all the time.
Yeah, right.
Like who would I be meeting if I was living in San Diego or LA around those studios?
Yeah, right.
People who are like in our kind of genre doing our thing, whatever. But I think that's a big thing, is that like making where you're from cool and staying where you're from and like building that. Like,
Yeah.
we could move to California and make shit easier, but no, we're going to stay here and try and open up doors here for people and like make this a place instead of moving to a destination. It's like, you know, you could big fish little pond or small fish big pond, whatever the hell you want to call it, do whatever. But like, we're trying to make Cleveland dope, and
Yeah.
and there's tons of other people who are doing that as well, and even doing a better job than we are. But it's like, we stayed here and we're staying here and we're working out of here because like this is where we're from, this is what we're doing, and like we can do this shit just as good as anybody from anybody else can.
Yeah, no doubt. And the other thing that you guys got going for you is that the people locally have taken to you guys.
Sure.
Because that doesn't always happen. And we, you know,
Totally.
before we even did the podcast, you and I were talking about some of the metal bands and stuff like that, and how some of the local metal bands here, we had Destructor on, and we were talking to them, and they were telling us, they were like, you know, we can go to Europe.
Yeah, we're huge in Europe.
Yeah, and we were playing in front of 1,000 people and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And locally here, we played in front of 40 people. And, you know, the scene here, the people here have really taken to Tropidelic. You guys, when you do your local festivals, you guys blow up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, thank you.
you know, but you do. And that's part of what makes it possible for you
Sure,
to
yeah.
do that, what we're just talking about. You know, if, you know, there are a lot of bands that are only big somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they have to go there in order. Who was the band we had on here, and they went to Buffalo to play?
Billy Sullivan.
Oh yeah, Billy Sullivan. That's what it was. Yeah, and he was in a band where, they were big here, kinda. They were known here. They did well here, but when they went to Buffalo, they were huge.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. Where you guys are definitely, and you know, it's probably more of a sign that you guys are just really you're onto something, right? You guys are, and you're doing it right, and people are taking notice of it. You guys have a real feel good thing. That's what really it is. I mean, I even found it funny that you guys did the winter song with the winter video with was it Snowman?
Snowman, yeah.
I thought that was cool. I was like, I did, because I was like, okay, this is cool. This is really like Cleveland Tropidelic here. Like,
Sure,
this is
yeah.
what they're representing. They're like, if you had to like say what Tropidelic is in Cleveland, it's the big giant snowman. That's the reality of it.
Hell
you know,
yeah.
it was cool.
Thank
And
you,
it was
man.
still a cool song, and it was still all well done. It was cool. I thought that was real clever.
Hell yeah. No, we like being the odd man out like that. Like, we like being the wild card, I guess, like in that regard. I don't know. It's like it's interesting. But like I said too, like we just think it's very important to like claim where you're from and love where you're from. And like, again too, like no hate towards anybody who moves to go do anything, whatever. But it's like, especially if you're in like the touring market anyway, it doesn't really matter where you live, because
Yeah.
you got to go, like, if you live in LA and your band's out of LA, can't play LA every weekend. You know what I
No,
mean? It's
right,
like
you're
supply
right.
and demand. Can't oversaturate. You got to be on the road doing your thing, whatever. So it's like,
You're right.
as long as we're hitting these places, what does it matter, like, where we live?
No, it's true.
So it's like, let's try and build up our local scene and do things like that. And that's something we were talking about, like, even in the new year, just like, so I do my solo stuff, and like Trop does a bunch of stuff, like all that. But it's like, I don't like necessarily always feel like I'm like a part of the Cleveland music scene. I feel like I used to be around a lot and like doing a lot of local shows, and, like throwing a lot of local shows. And I kind of just like strayed away from that over the past couple of years. Not for any reason, just like got a little more busy, like things, whatever. That's like a big thing I'm trying to work on this year is just like going to see a lot more local shows and like meeting a lot more of the local bands and like kind of just like trying to spread the knowledge like as much as I can. Like, cause anything like we learned or people who helped us, like that knowledge is like, you can say it's earned by like paying your dues or whatever. Yeah. And sure, there's like a level, like, there's a point to that as well, but it's like, if you know something that can help somebody, like you're not their friend if you don't just willingly offer that information. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, we've been so fortunate to like be able to get to where we've been. And that's because of a lot of people taking their time with us and like showing us the right way to do things, like whatever. So like, I feel like a big responsibility to do that, like for my friends and for everybody else. Cause it's like, again, you can like earn that knowledge or do whatever, but it's like, I got to where I'm at because people took their time to like invest in me and do things. Even like Rhodes, our singer, like.
I see what you're saying. No, I see what you're saying. You almost feel a responsibility now to give back to what, what you've absorbed all this, and it's by their graces that you know this now.
Absolutely.
And so now it's like, well, I can't just like not go forward now.
Exactly.
Because
you feel, that's like Rhodes, our singer, like in my high school band, used to like open for Trop all the time, and then Rhodes hit me up and he was just like, "Hey, like we need a trombone player. Do you play the trombone?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Do you want to learn?" And I was like, absolutely. And like Trop is my favorite band. Like before I was in it, like I was front row at all their shows. Like that was my favorite band. Like I couldn't believe it when I got that call. So I told him no, that I didn't play the trombone. And he was like, okay. And he hung up the phone. I looked at my buddy who I was with. I was like, I should have lied, shouldn't I? And he was just like, yeah, you should have. And he called me back and was like, do you want to learn? And I was like, yeah. So like even him taking that opportunity on me just because like, not because I had any skill in the instrument he needed me on, but because he knew I was hungry and wanted to do it. So it's like, there's all these opportunities that just got like handed to me because I was like where I needed to be and helpful to the people I needed to be at like the times, whatever. So it's like, I didn't like do anything to earn that. Like I was just around doing what I wanted to do and what I was enjoying doing. So it's like, again, I feel really responsible to like pass that on. And like when I see my homies working on shit or trying to get bigger, trying to do whatever, it's like, a lot of this knowledge was just gifted to me. And it's like, so like, how dare I not share that with you and like try and get that going, you know?
So did you say you didn't know how to play the trombone when you first?
No, I'm a YouTube trombone player, bro. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. Rose gave me a trombone in the parking lot of like a bar in Cleveland Heights when I was 19. And then I just started showing up to practice. And then our trumpet player at the time was helping me learn it and stuff. And then a couple weeks into rehearsing, we were working on a new song, and the song was called Police State. It was off an EP we made called Police State. And they were like, oh, we don't know what to do with like the bridge of this song. And I was like, oh, like I like kind of rap. And they were like, oh, for real? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, why don't you try something here? And then that opened the door for that. And I've like kind of become like the second front man. If you
right. Yeah. Well, it's almost like a co-thing sort of in a way, you know what I mean?
Rhodes is the mastermind. Like,
no, he is.
It's his band. Yeah. Like it's his vision. And again, he's just been like insanely generous, like with like letting us in on that and like giving us all that opportunity. And we all feel very heard, and like we all contribute to everything, but he got it going and he got it started. So it's like again, that dude just blessed me. You know what I'm saying?
So I wanted to ask you about that. The band, it seems to me like it didn't just start off the way it is now. Like it didn't just come out and this was the way it's always been. It seems to me like Tropidelic has kind of evolved into what it is now.
Sure.
And would you say that it's mostly, though, evolved in his mind and he's kind of like, or do you think it's just like he's amongst all these people and it's helped shape what it's become?
So like I said, like I think it's very much like his vision, but like he's allowed it to become all of our visions. So it's like he'll have ideas, we'll all have ideas, and like he picked the people to be in the band that he trusted the opinions of. So everybody's very heard and everybody's very seen. And yeah, it's become everybody's vision. It's become everybody's thing. And again, too, he just like kind of put us all in the place to like make something bigger than what we were all doing like together. So it's like I owe my life to that dude in the sense of like, you know, my professional career, everything. Like the dude just opened up so many doors for me, and nothing but love for him. Like he's one of my all-time favorite songwriters. Even before I was in the band, like Matt Rhodes changed my life when he called me and asked me to be in the band. And like it's easily the best opportunity I've ever been handed. And I feel an obligation to him and to the fans to like really take it as far as we can go.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So like the one thing about Tropidelic also that we were talking about is it's a lot of different kinds of music and stuff like that. So everybody in the band is kind of has a different personality. Would that be? So, and that's where this stuff gets injected into it, is from different people. So as a song is constructed, are you guys each bringing your own thing into this thing, and that's how these are constructed? Does it come like that? Is that how you get all these different?
Yeah. We do a lot of our writing in the studio.
Oh, really?
So it's like we'll like book a bunch of studio time with Chris, and we'll just come in. Like I said, we've been in all week. I'm in the rest of the week with him, and now we're at the point of our album where it's like we're kind of just like shaping things up. But we'll come in with like either me or Rhodes. We'll just have like an idea for a hook or a melody or something. And like, I don't play the guitar or nothing. So it's like, I just come up with shit in my head and just like kind of get going on it. Rhodes does play the guitar, so he can like kind of come up with like more like concise ideas. Yeah, right. But I'm just so blessed to be around the musicians I'm around to where I can show up to practice and be like, hey, I got this idea for a song. I need you to do something kind of like this that I can't even fully describe because I don't play the instrument or like whatever. And they'll be like, oh, I think I see what you're saying or whatever. But yeah, we'll come with like hook ideas or verse ideas or melody ideas, and then we'll build it around that, and everybody kind of has their own way in. So it's like when it comes down to guitars, Bobby, who's very much a metal guitarist. I mean, I call him metal guitarist, but he can do fucking anything.
He's not playing.
He's unbelievable. Like,
right.
But so everyone just kind of weighs in like on their own aspect, or even like some of our songs that don't have live drums. Rex is in there with Chris building the beats, like hi-hat hit by hi-hat hit, like down to like that much, like, you know what I'm saying? So everybody has like a huge input on the songs and how they come apart. But yeah, a lot of times it's like me or Rhodes coming up with like ideas for melodies or like songs, but you know, we're just the singers though. So, you know.
Right. So there's a whole bunch that goes into it at the very end.
Yeah. That's like too, like I can write words and melodies, but I can't write music really. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just being completely honest. Like, I don't play the guitar, I don't play the piano. Like, I can hear things in my head and see how I think they would sound. The guys I'm surrounded with are just so good that like they can pull it out of my head, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's cool. All right, we're going to take a quick break.
Sure.
That was the first segment. That went fast, man.
And, yeah, it really did fly by. How quick was that? Was that 20 minutes already?
Yeah, something like that.
Holy shit.
All right, we'll come back. We'll be talking to James. Couple minutes.
Hi everybody, it's DJ Terry from the Homegrown Hit Show on 216 Beat Radio, telling about a couple of great shows this week. First, on Saturday, March 4th, it's Brian Allen Hager, and he's at the Lorello Vineyards out in beautiful Geneva. And then we've got Tricky Dick and the Cover-Ups, and they're at the Round the Corner in Lakewood. Both are great shows, so check them out. Whatever you do, get out there and support local music, and keep rocking with me on the Homegrown Hit Show. So this is DJ Terry, out.
And we are back, everybody, with Mr. James Begin. And so, like I said before, one of the main reasons why we brought you down here to begin with was because you did kind of like come off and you just doing something on your own, or you did a little solo thing. First of all, obviously, why would you? What happened where you decided to do this? What prompted you to do it? I guess I would ask.
So I guess I always have like even like before I was in Trop and stuff, I was like releasing solo like hip hop music and so like I am the rapper in Tropidelic, which is my favorite job in the world. It's like it's amazing, you know, dream come true. But there's a lot of music that I write that like isn't necessarily great for Tropidelic. You know what I mean? I have to like write for the fan base and write for like what we've been doing, and I don't feel like caged in that way at all. Like I love that, and like honestly, I love having like what do they say? Like I know why the caged bird sings. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I like having like a confines to like right within, like, you know what I mean? Because
the confines of certain things.
Yeah, you know, it's like you're writing for a certain fan base, a certain type of music, whatever, and like it really pulls a lot of like creative stuff out of you that like wouldn't necessarily come out if you were just doing whatever you wanted like all the time. But it
keeps you outside of your box sometimes. You can't just be all comfortable with it.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's like a lot of my solo music, which is, I guess like as of late, like again, like that single I dropped, likewise in June, that was my like debut James Begin single. But like I've had like a million rap groups over the years and stuff that I've like put out that's like all the shit's on Spotify under like different names, different things, whatever, like people I worked with. But that was like the first time I was like using my own name as a brand, which was a goofy thing too, because it's like I find it much easier to like promoting a band or something like that, like with a band name or like whatever, like nobody's walking around in a shirt that says Kendrick Lamar. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody's wearing like rapper like t-shirts. I mean, like, you know, people are selling merch, obviously, whatever, but it's like
rappers are wearing heavy metal t-shirts.
Sure, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of blurry, like, yeah, it's all blurry in there. But it's like it's a goofy thing to where it's like you know, like, I don't want to sell merch that says James Begin on it or whatever. So it's like I did a lot of my other stuff under like different project names. And a lot of it was always with other people too. Like, so I have a rap group called Cicero. We put out an album. We did a bunch of shows. And my boys Adam and Connor, who are the other rappers in that, we still do shit. Like, we'll do pop-up shows like with people who just like jump up on things randomly. And they'll play at my solo shows too. We'll do a couple of those songs. But that was the first song that I did that was just like under my name, like as a brand.
This isn't exactly what you do with Tropidelic. You're not doing the same kind of thing though. You're doing actually more of a you're writing all the music. Are you writing everything? Are you just like, are you getting the beat and then
I weigh in on the beats, but Chris makes the majority of them. And if he doesn't, I buy them from other producers and stuff. But I like have a good understanding of all kinds of music. Again, like, I'm a drummer, like all this, I do all kinds of shit, but I don't play the guitar, like I said, and I don't play the piano. So it's like I can like hear things and envision things, but I can't like, you know, I can come up with a melody for a hook, but I don't know like what chords to play to like make that sound good or whatever. But again, I'm fortunate enough to have people like Chris and like my other friends too that like can do that like for me. So I'll help like Chris make the beats and stuff. But a lot of times too, Chris will just send me a bunch of beats, be like, hey, I think you would sound good on these, and I'll write like to those. So it's like again too, like I said, I was like an entertainer before I was a musician. I'm also very much a writer before I'm a musician. And again too, like, I'm not trying to like knock myself or anything. Like, I'm very much a musician, but I know what I'm good at and what I'm not. So like, I let my friends who are incredible producers and stuff like that make those beats and do that, whatever. Right. And then we just have such a good relationship, and they know like what I mess with and what I like too, that like a lot of times those they meet up really well. So yeah.
So how much do you think Chris plays a part of all that as far as like with the music you're playing now? Would you say that Chris is like half of what you're doing basically? I mean, because he's like
at least, man. Yeah. Like, I mean, Chris taught me how to make music, like my freshman year of high school. Like, I was a drummer. Like, I knew how to play the drums. My dad taught me how to play the drums. But I met Chris when I was in high school, and he was like, yeah, I play the guitar. And it's like, even like, you know, we're fortunate enough to be around tons of people who play music very well and do whatever. So it's like, if somebody tells us we play guitar, if they're in the circle with us, they're probably pretty good, because that's like why we're meeting them. But like back then, especially like as a high schooler, someone's like, oh, I play the guitar. I'm like, oh, sure you fucking do. Like, whatever. Right. But then I saw Chris play the guitar when I was a freshman in high school, and I was like, oh, holy shit. And I was like, that dude can really rip. And he was like helping me even figure out the drums, figure out things like whatever, just because he knew how to write and he knew how to do like whatever. But Chris is like almost 100% the reason I've like been able to make music a career, just because he took the time to show me and help me and work with me. And again, he's the producer for Tropidelic, so he's involved with all of our albums, making everything, like tracking them, all stuff, weighing his input. Then especially for my solo stuff too, like, he's the one making beats and being like, hey, I think you would like sound good on this, I think you would, whatever. So I owe everything to Chris as a musician. Yeah,
but these are still your ideas. I mean, you're coming to the table with most, you know, this is your song, and at the end of the day, these are your ideas. At the end of the day, you're writing all the lyrics. You got to come up with all the melodies and stuff like that. He's just, you know, like what I think Roderick. We had Roderick in here as one of the guys that works with Chris, and he was actually saying, he was like, Chris, what he's great at is he takes that one person he's working with. He seems to know exactly what it is that not only that you want, but like what makes you the best you.
Absolutely. And he pulls the best you out of you.
Yeah.
And just like the type of person he is too, it's like, Chris is the kind of guy where it's like, if Chris needs a favor from me, like, I love that, because it's just like, oh wow, like, I can do something for this guy who's done all of this shit like for me, like whatever. Right. But like working with him too, like, he knows the best way to talk to me and the best way to get the best out of me. And it's not just me because I'm his friend. He does that with everybody, and he takes that time with everybody. And that's why, like, not even to like just shamelessly plug Signal Flow, whatever, but like, that's why like him and Jake Jekyll are like my favorite people to work with. And that's why Trop works with them. That's why like my friends from other bands fly from out of state to record with Chris, because like he's just brought that out of people, and that's like what he's known for. And like, and again too, he's got the talent to back it up. And like, kind of what we talked about too. I think the cameras might have been off when we did, but like, Chris is like one of the most talented people I've ever met, and he uses that talent full time with other people. He makes his own music, but he's like almost even stopped doing that because he's dedicated so much of his time to working the studio and like doing stuff there, that like all of that talent that he has, he's just insanely generous with it. And like, he uses it to make your project the best that it can be. And like, he takes that time. And like,
Yeah,
that's
right.
just not something you find with every producer, every studio guy, you know?
No, and the most important thing is the end result too. That he seems to always pull off these unbelievable recordings. He's got some of his own thing that he can do that's just Chris, you know, that he's developed.
Absolutely.
Also. They all do over there. You know, they're good at that. They're really good at
Oh, yeah.
kind of separating themselves and creating their own thing. They're constantly, it's constant with them.
And he took the time too. It's like Chris was recording us in his parents' living room off a computer mic when we were in like 9th and 10th grade and shit. And like, I watched him like learn to do it and like download like Pro Tools and all that. Like when we were in high school and like start figuring that out. And then he went and got like a certificate in recording, and he was in LA for a while figuring it out too. And it's like Chris just like completely fell in love with recording and producing and all that, whatever. And he completely applied himself to it. And like, a dedicated Chris DeCole is a force to be reckoned with. And again, too, most importantly, like he shares that talent and that time and uses it for everybody else's projects. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, he has his own music, but like, that's a side thing for him. Like he's dedicated to doing this and making everybody else great. And that's like we're so lucky to have him in Cleveland. Everybody that records with him, you know?
Yeah, definitely. He's like formed a movement almost here where there's like all these people that are going to him now. And he's kind of like you said, him wanting to do this and him going through with it and the drive that he has along with the talent that he has, not only has it benefited him, but it's created a whole bunch of music for all these different artists locally who, if it wasn't for him wanting that to happen for himself, these people don't probably even exist to the level that we know them to.
Well, the people that he's like introduced to each other too, even my buddy All the Hype, killer rapper out of Cleveland, records with Chris, and his buddy Astral Housefly, who's his DJ, another one of his producers as well. Chris was recording him for a couple months, and he's like, yo, I got this dude, and he's fire. And he showed me, and I was just like, holy shit, I love this. And then we started playing shows together. Now, me and him work together all the time, too. And we were talking, he performed with us at the after party for the Tropidelic New Year's Eve show. And we were talking after, and he was just like, dude, like, ever since like I met Chris, and he like introduced me to you guys, like shit just started happening. And it's like, Chris just knows who to introduce people to, and like he can see you and be like, yo, you should meet this guy. Like he's a connector, you know?
Yeah, right,
But
right.
like you said, he's a doer as well. And that's just like he's the kind of guy too. It's like if Chris believes in you too, like it gives you that drive to keep working, because it's like you don't want to let that guy down. Because it's like if this guy believes in me, well, fuck, like I gotta do something, you know what I mean? It's just like how dare
that's a
I
good
not,
attitude
you know?
that you have there.
If he's gonna take the time with me, like then I need to do right by him too, and like prove to him that like he was right in like picking to choose you to take time with and shit.
No, that's cool. That's very cool that you do that, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So when it comes to the first song that you're putting out, which was Likewise in June, what is Likewise? I mean, like to me, this is your first one. This is kind of your breakout song with your name on it. You're working with Chris. It seems like you're going to put a little more attention on this thing because this is the first one type thing. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's it about? What did you end up writing about? What's the whole story there? Like what happened? What's the process of that song?
So there's like, for writing for me, there's like kind of two ways to go about it. The best stuff I think comes when you have an idea for a song and something you want to talk about, something you want to do, and then you write sticking to that like kind of formula. Likewise is the other kind of writing that I also do, where it's like I'm just going to kind of get stuff out and write and like kind of create more of a vibe, as opposed to like this is what this song is about. So like the hook of Likewise doesn't necessarily line up exactly with like what the verses are talking about, but I think they like blend together well, and like I'm very proud of both.
It's a great
those
song.
Verses. Thank you. Very proud.
That's what sometimes you do. You just create a great song by the lyrics form an instrument.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just kind of like I think for that, and then for my like next single coming out on January 27th, it's called Honey on Toast. Both of those songs are more like about like creating a vibe and a feeling, as opposed to like being about something in particular. And a lot of the lyrics could be taken multiple ways, like you can apply them to yourselves and however it like hits you. And I think that's really important too, in the sense of like writing is a very personal thing, and like being an artist on any level and like putting music out to the world, you're abandoning the idea of privacy. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, hey, like these are like my most intimate thoughts and things that are bothering me, or, you know, or things that you like, whatever the song's about. These are like my most intimate thoughts, and I'm going to put them out to the world. So it's like, especially if you have like a fan base, an active fan base that's like listening, there's like a responsibility to write about like, okay, like this is who's going to listen to the song. I know who's going to listen. This is what I want to say, but what do I think these people want to hear or need to hear, whatever. So it's like, it's not it's not that you're not writing for yourself or whatever, but it's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is how I feel. How can I make this most digestible to the people that I know are going to listen to it?
Yeah.
So just like writing about like relatable kind of stuff. And in a way that it's like, even if I'm talking about something specific, you can apply that to your own kind of situation.
Yeah.
So both of those songs are like very much like that. Like there's not necessarily like a full blown, this is what this song is about. It's kind of just like a snapshot of like how I felt on the day that I wrote it. And I think people feel those ways as well. So it's like, I hope that like makes people comfortable on those days, or like helps people feel seen, you know?
Do you think, now I know you're like just into the beginning of this, and one song, another song coming, but at the end of the day, when this, you have a group of songs under your belt, will there be like a James Begin sound where you'll have your own, you know, like you're in a band, Tropidelic, which is very diverse, and any fucking thing can happen at any moment.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a little less diverse? Are you planning on kind of like forming so that when I hear you, I'm like, oh, I know that's definitely James. I know that.
Yeah, I think so. Well, like more specifically, I guess like my solo stuff outside of Tropidelic is just going to be hip hop, and it's like going to be rap. I think that song likewise, and my new one too, Honey on Toast, they're very kind of like mellow, and I like that. And that's like something that like rapping with Tropidelic, like I have to match the energy of the band.
Yeah, sometimes
so
you
a lot of
like
that's
3,000
like,
words in
exactly,
a minute,
yeah.
dude.
So it's like a lot of people too, they're like, oh, like I loved what you were like, I loved you rapping, but it was like it was also fast as I was ever. Like I wish you would like slow it down. And I was like, well, there's like times when I do with Trop, but like on like the heavy hitting Trop songs, like if I rapped something slow and like chill, it wouldn't make sense on the song. So it's like a lot of people think I'm just like a fast rapper who does this and does that, but it's like I write slow shit, I write nice stuff, like vibey stuff, moody stuff, whatever. But with that last song, likewise, and the new one too, which I really liked both of them, but I've like come to find, I think that like the stuff moving forward, it's definitely going to be hip hop and rap, but I think it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. And I'm just like, come to find that like, I think like my voice shines and my like personality shines through more when I'm like, not necessarily like aggressive in the sense of like attacking somebody like with like the lyrics or anything, but just like a more like lively kind of like a, just like banger kind of tracks, where the two that I have, like one that's out and the one's going to come out, are both very mellow, kind of like Sunday night driving, and it's like dark outside with lights out. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I think the other, like the stuff I've been working on like since then is a lot more like kind of in your face, like rocking kind of shit.
Are you gonna? What do you feel like you would go back and forth with that throughout, you know, writing these songs?
Sure.
Kind of like whatever the flavor is today, how you're feeling type thing?
I think a lot of it comes from like what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
So it's like last year, like one of my most listened to artists on Spotify was this dude called Code of the Friend. And he's a rapper who just like when he spits, like it just sounds so effortless. And he's like just talking. Like it's not even like if that guy walked in the room, he would like say a word and you'd be like, oh, that's you. Cause that's like what he sounds like. Sometimes I feel like with my music, like how I come out on the tracks, it's like how I want it to, but it's not necessarily how I am. It's like, it's a part of who I am and like what I'm doing, but it's like, I think my personality coming up with these like newer songs I'm going to be doing are going to match that more directly as opposed to like, again, like a lot of my solo shit is just very mellow. And that's when like a lot of my like leisure writing and free time writing, because if I'm writing for like a purpose, a lot of that, if I come up with a good idea, I'm like, okay, does this work for Trop? Because that's the first priority. And it's like, if I write a good song, I'd much rather it be a Trop song than one of my songs, because they would just have a much bigger platform. If I think that it's not necessarily that vibe, I'll do it on my own. But I think even though a lot of it's like very mellow, it's still very much me. But I think I'm just looking forward to exploring more like lively kind of like banging hip hop songs. You know what I mean? Like I want my solo shows to be like just as energetic, but in their own way as a Trop show. Where like right now they're not necessarily like that. Though I still think my live show right now is very good and cool, but I want it to match my personal energy more.
Well, how do you do a live show?
With a DJ.
But I mean, like, what do you, if you only have one song solo right now, how do you do live?
Oh, so yeah, so I said, like, I have tons of songs. I've just,
so you're playing, but you're playing all original stuff though when you're doing all this?
Yeah, it's all original. It's all original.
Cool.
So like,
okay,
again, Likewise was just the first track I dropped under the name James Begin.
I got you.
Which
No,
is just
I got
my
you.
name.
Okay, I do.
But again, like I had that rap group Cicero, and I had like me and Toby put out an EP like a couple of years ago.
I wanted to ask you about some of that stuff too, because it's not just your Trop and your solo stuff, but you're actually like on a lot of other people's stuff also too. Like you play, there's a lot of people that bring James Begin in to as featuring on their song, right?
Yeah. So I think a big part of that too is that like, if you give me a beat and like a hook, someone's like, oh, I have this hook and I have this beat, this is what the song's about, put a verse on this all day. Like I got you, like whatever, can't wait. And I think a big part of it too is like, because I don't play the guitar and I don't play piano, again, I come up with my own song ideas and stuff all the time, like whatever, but I like working with other people. Like I love working with Toby. One, like I think our vibes go together well, but also two, it's like if one of us has an idea for a song and we're both going to be on it, I'm writing half the song and you're writing half the song. And because I'm so busy with Trop, it makes that a lot easier as opposed to just like, okay, I need to come up with an album and it's just me doing this. So I had my rap group Cicero, which is me and two other guys, Connor and Adam, and both fire rappers. And we've done a bunch of shows. We have an album out on Spotify. But that was like really easy to do in my downtime from touring because it was like I had these other two dudes also coming up with ideas, also writing songs. So a lot of it was like, okay, here's my song, we're all going to do this. And a lot of it was they were like, hey, here's our song, punch your verse in, write about this, whatever. So it's like a lot of my stuff on my Spotify, even currently now, is like mostly feature stuff, mostly whatever. Because the majority of my time is to Tropidelic. So it's like I only have a couple like fully solo songs, because the majority of the time I spend writing outside of Trop is with other people because it makes it a little more easier and more leisurely. And plus, too, like if I'm home and I'm writing, I don't want to be by myself. I want to be with my friends who are also kicking ass and doing stuff, whatever. So yeah, I do a lot of those Cicero songs. I'll just do them by myself and like fill in my own verses for the other guys' verses. And I have tons of other ideas that just aren't recorded, but they're good live, just like kind of like in your face rapping kind of tracks. So it's like all of my sets are all completely original music, even though only 2 of the songs after this month will be actually on my Spotify. But it's all stuff that I've written that's either not recorded or it's under a different name for another project.
Now, another thing about Tropidelic that's really cool is that you guys inject a lot of humor into your stuff too. Like it's not all real serious stuff. You guys are a real fun type band. Your videos, you'll inject a lot of humor into your videos and stuff. You portray that you guys are kind of like, funny dudes. You like, like you cut up type dudes, right? That's the kind of thing you portray. So when I'm thinking of like the one video, and the song eludes me, but you guys are all in the workshop, and there's a Purgatory sign above it. I remember
Sunny Days.
It is Sunny Days, right? That's the song. It's a very cool song.
Thank you.
You like I was saying, if you watch that video, there's a lot of humor going on there, and you bring up like Toby Raps, right? So Toby Raps is another guy who he injects a lot of humor and a lot of fun, crazy stuff into his videos and stuff. So with your solo stuff now, I'm for some reason imagining that's not going to go away with you. Like you're going to bring some of that even into the solo stuff too, like the funny stuff, and you're just the goofy stuff, right? That's just part of what it is. Or am I wrong?
So I guess that is the plan. Like what I was saying with like that, with like the newer stuff, I'm working on stuff. It's like much more like me as opposed to like the songs I have coming out and that I have put out. Like they are just like very mellow, and it very much is me, but it's just a very specific part of me.
I got you.
So I want to start like implementing that a little more. But again, like I like the fact that my solo stuff is like so much different and like whatever. And it's like I think you'll be smiling at a James Begin show, but it's not like a in your face wow sort of thing like Tropidelic. It's kind of like a more toned back kind of thing, which again I like having like the difference in that. But I think definitely, especially a lot of stuff I'm working on right now that's going to be coming out like a little more. But again, none of that's very like, we don't think about that as we do it. Like that's not like we're going to like try and be funny and try and be like
right.
It's
like just what happens.
It's just like how it happens and who we are. So it's like a lot of times with my solo stuff, and again, especially like if it's just me, like not like a goofy person by myself. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like like a lot of my like solo shit's like very internal and like thoughts like that, whatever, like I don't necessarily share all the time with other people because it's me alone doing whatever.
Yeah.
So all the goofy stuff comes out when I'm with people like Ryan, or when I'm with people or Toby, when I'm with people like Toby or like with the Trop guys, because we just all have such a good time when we're together. So it's like none of that's like forced or planned or whatever. It's just kind of the way it's like come about.
Right. Well, just personalities, right? And it's Absolutely. The way you guys are, just kind of wired type thing, and that's that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Do you have videos coming out with the songs that you're going to, is your plan to put a video with the singles as you release them too? Is that the whole?
Not right now. So like the Honey on Toast on January 27th is just going to come out just as is. Definitely something I want to work on this year. But again, too, like, it's not that I don't take the solo stuff seriously. It's like, it's not the case at all, but it's just like all of my effort and time is going towards Tropidelic. And what I do under my name is just because I just love doing it. So it's like, if it makes sense too, I'll absolutely be making a video. And like me and Toby have like 2 songs together, one with Chris as well, that we are going to be making videos for, because it's just kind of like a fun project sort of thing. But Yeah, it's just not like super.
Not yet.
It makes sense for sure, but it's
Yeah.
just like right now I'm just more concerned about getting the music out.
Okay. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the trap festivals that are coming up in the summertime. We'll give some dates out and all that stuff, talk about some of the past ones. I'm sure there's some crazy stories that's happening with those things. And so when we come back, a couple minutes with James Begin.
Fantastic.
Hello, Cleveland. I am ZM Delgado, author of the Rust Belt Rock Review at ZachO'Lantern.com, and this is your weekend concert calendar update. First off, Friday, March 3rd at the Foundry, it's Mutilation Barbecue. With them, they're bringing in Feticide, Molech, Assault, and Open Wound. Saturday, March 4th at No Class, Axioma, with support from Avowal, Sulaco, Auto Replicant, and Orphaned. And finally, closing out the weekend, Sunday, the 5th at the Grog Shop, it's the Tossers with the Brazen Rogues. So there you have it. 3 great shows, 1 great weekend, and I hope I see you out at the clubs, Cleveland. Until next time, rock on, Rust Belt.
And we are back, everybody, with James Begin, Tropidelic. James, here's what I want to talk about now. It's a little bit of the stuff that is coming up in the future. You guys got, one thing about we were talking about is when Tropidelic kind of began, you guys were in festivals and you were doing other festivals a lot and stuff. You guys are doing your own festivals now, right?
Yeah.
And not just one, you're doing a couple of them and you do them every summer. And this is kind of a thing that happens yearly now. Well, we'll get into it. Now, you guys don't just do these festivals. You guys play out in between these festivals also.
Oh, yeah.
Some local, sometimes you play out of state. You guys play all over the place, but you could play anywhere. But these 2 festivals, same places every year. First one you guys will do in May, May 19th and 20th at Nelson's Ledges Quarry is Sunny Days.
Yep.
Named after one of your songs, or was the song named after the festival?
Yeah, named after the song. Seemed appropriate.
Yeah, right. And it's not just you guys. You guys have a bunch. You bring a lot of your friends with you. A lot of other bands coming out there. You guys got other musicians playing on the bills too. Toby Raps has played these. Like we were just talking about Toby. He's done these with you.
He's been on all of them.
And it's a pretty cool place that you're doing this at Nelson's Ledges. I mean, if anyone's ever been to Nelson's, it's an amazing place, especially to do this. They still have the amphitheater there. The big stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was called, the amphitheater, because it wasn't there when I went there. There was no amphitheater till like a decade after we started going there.
Hell yeah.
They built it finally. But yeah, and that's a really cool place to see a show outside, man, in the greatest outside setting. It really is.
We played festivals all over the country, and I never hesitate to say to people from around here, the fact that if you go to music festivals and you live in Northeast Ohio, the spot that you've been to is Nelson Ledges, and I just really hope people don't take that place for granted, because it is the coolest place to see a show.
It is, man.
You can camp in the woods, you can go swimming in a quarry, you can see the show on the beach. It's 99% of these other festivals that even big ones that people throw are in a field somewhere, which they make it their own and they make it tight and awesome, but it's Nelson Ledges is just such a beautiful place, and that's where we cut our teeth. We've been playing a bunch of the festivals there for 10 years, and that's how we developed a huge part of our fan base. So that's a massive part of us getting off the ground and getting that hometown love.
Yeah, well, and that seems like that's a marriage. Nelson's Ledges and Tropidelic, the music you guys are doing. When you think about what Nelson's is all about, it just seems like it's a marriage. Those two just go together. You guys really do seem to lend yourselves as more of an outside thing, it's almost like you got to see Trop outdoors. You really do. Yeah. If you're going to see him, if you get a choice, take the outdoor one.
Hell yeah.
It just seems like you guys are geared for that and everything. And you guys also do Everwild, which is a festival. Now, when was the first one of those?
So the first Everwild was 2 or 3 years ago. God, forgive me, I can't remember if this is going to be the.
Well, you had the pandemic. Did you do it? Did it start before the pandemic?
Yes. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. So we had we threw a festival for years that was called Freak Stomp, and it was the same weekend. It was everything. That was just the name of it. And then we changed the name in the pandemic year. I'm pretty sure we did do it in 2020. Like things like let up, and we were able to do the first year of it. But so yeah, we changed the name from Freak Stomp to Everwild just to kind of make it more of like a
friendlier name.
Yeah, just a digestible. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like a
Freak Stomp could, you know,
yeah, like if you're just like
I don't know if I want to go to Freak Stomp if I'm not
right.
if I'm not a stomper.
Yeah, if you're just average walking around person and you saw the name of that, like I think Everwild is just more like that
inclusive. Everything's inclusive.
Definitely,
there.
yeah.
Right.
So we did Freak Stomp for years, and then it became Everwild. And then so we headline it every year. Both nights, but last year was the first year that we brought in a big headliner for the Friday night or for Saturday night. So we headlined Friday night, and then we played Saturday night, and then we had the Dirty Heads headline Saturday night right after us.
Well, these bands that you guys are bringing with you guys, because you guys are so diverse and you know. When I say you're diverse, it's a heavily leaning on the reggae thing where you really get that groove in all the songs is in there. So the bands that you guys are bringing with you, it's more of a reggae flavor. A lot of these bands, would you say?
Definitely, yeah. But it's again too. It's also just kind of like whatever like fits the vibe. So it's like that's like even like a lot of these big like reggae festivals will play like California Roots out in Monterey or like Reggae Rise Up in St. Pete, Florida. Like it'll be mostly reggae bands, but then they'll have like Atmosphere or Wu-Tang on it, or like these like rappers. So it was like they're like even kind of like diversifying that too. But I found that just like a lot of like the reggae music that's like popular in like the States and stuff right now too is like it's kind of just whatever fits the vibe. So it's like yes, like Everwild is like a lot of reggae bands, but we had some rock bands, we had some pop bands, we had some rappers. It's kind of just like whatever kind of fits like the world that we're like kind of trying to create, which again too is just like kind of just supposed to be geared towards people from like this area. So it's like, you know, Ohio and like the general area, it's like not a huge reggae town or nothing like that. So we've been bringing a lot of those bands in, but then also like showing love to like a lot of like the local guys and stuff who do just rock or pop or rap, whatever. So like throwing them on there too. Just kind of whatever we think like fits like the vibe of what we're going for.
So this Everwild one is August 3rd through the 5th. So is it a 3-day festival that starts the 3rd, or is that what it is?
Yeah. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. People leave Sunday.
So when I was talking about Nelson's, I think people understand that that's a camping event because it's Nelson Legends Quarry is obviously a campground. If you didn't know, I don't know what rock you've been under, but in this, it's also a camping event type thing, right?
Yeah. So it's at Legend Valley, which is near Columbus, and Legend Valley hosts a ton of festivals. It's no pun intended, very legendary place. I think it used to be called Buckeye Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I saw Lollapalooza there then. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know
it's
they
the
changed
same
the name.
spot. But
okay.
So even like currently they do Lost Lands there, which is one of the biggest EDM festivals in the country. They do the Gathering of the Juggalos there, which is like a huge event as well. And
Cool.
So they throw all kinds of festivals there. So yeah, we're one of them, and it's a camping event. And we got like we'll have 2 stages, and then a late night stage, and like an art tent stage, and it's just 3 days of killer music.
So there's all these people camping, and like how many people are we talking at Everwild? Like what kind of?
So last year was our biggest year yet. The year prior we had 900 people, and then this year, 2022 in August we had 3,000.
What?
Yeah, it was a massive jump, and it was like something.
Did you know that you're going to have 3,000 people?
No, honestly, we were tripping about it. We were like kind of worried, like we didn't like really know like how it was gonna go.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And then
it's like mini Woodstock situation almost.
Yeah, it was like even like infrastructure relief. That's even like the word. It was just like, oh my god, like do we have enough staff? Because it's like it's our festival in the sense like our name's on it, but it's also like we're all working that festival too. Like it starts Thursday. Right. I was there Sunday.
Oh, I bet.
With like not just me too, the rest of the band. Like our Jim, he owns JSG Live. He like co-throws the festival with us. He's also our sound guy. He throws like Hookahville, which is a big festival as well. He does all kinds of stuff, but it's like we're there Sunday all week getting ready, set up, whatever. And then even like when we're like us playing the shows that weekend, it's a very small part of the day. Like we're on deck with golf carts and radios the whole time, like putting out fires, doing whatever. So we were all pretty shocked, like when it ended up being that many people, and nobody like panicked or anything, but like we were very proud of the fact that it all kind of went off without a hitch, and everybody had a really good time. So
right.
We're just bigger and better.
And you guys are also camping at the same time that everyone else is camping, right?
We
you don't have it anywhere else. So are you out there with the people? I mean, are you guys accessible at nighttime after the shows, before the shows, when
so we have
people
a space
are cooking
that
up?
like we camp at, just because like we need like the peace and quiet to kind of
Yeah.
go to bed because we have to play the shows. But
Yeah.
we really pride ourselves on being insanely accessible, even like after the shows, whether it's like an outdoor show or an indoor club show, whatever. No matter what, like if you go to see Tropidelic, it's not like a, oh my God, like I wonder if I'll get to meet them. It's like, hey, we'll be at the merch table until they kick everybody out. Come say what's up, come take a picture, whatever. And that's been a big part of like the growth too, is that like making it like a family thing and making it like a
Personal.
yeah, you can
with
talk
each
to
person. They
well, it's
almost
like
feel
imagine if like your buddy's like, hey, like you should check out this band I saw. They're awesome. You gotta listen to them. Maybe you will. You know, maybe
Right,
you won't. Like
right,
a lot of
right,
times I don't. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we just listen to what we listen to. But if somebody comes up to you and like, hey, you gotta check these guys out. They're my boys, they're my friends, they're whatever. Like you have to check them out, whatever. So it's like, well, one, it's very rewarding to talk to everybody after the shows and meet your fans, meet the people that are making it happen. Like literally it doesn't happen without any of these people. Right. It's very rewarding to meet those people and like find out. And like I've made so many just amazing friends like by doing that. And everybody's always insanely chill and like gracious and awesome. But that's like a huge part of like we take a lot of pride in that. Like, yeah, you know, it's like, again, too, like that's like why I think we've been able to get to where we're at is like by building that community and whatever, and like being accessible and whatever. Cause it's like too, like, I don't know, it's like the people that are coming to these shows and like supporting you, whatever, like are literally the only reason we're able to like do this. Like,
right.
How dare we not take that time to like say thank you or to take that picture with you or sign something with you, whatever. It's like certain people will high road you. And it's like if you know, what other world you get to go see? Like, I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick on them. There's some people who like, we are their favorite band. And it's like, when you go see your favorite band, you don't get to meet them. That doesn't happen.
Not
like,
usually. Right.
After the show, we walk out and we talk to whoever wants to talk until they throw everybody out of the building. Cause like, again, like in our eyes, it's like, how dare you not?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
And I think what I was saying though, this is more of a, because it's a camping event where you guys are not just going to be present during the show, you're present 24 hours and another 24 hours.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is what I'm talking about. Now, people that go to these shows and they do get to meet you guys and talk to you guys, these are the guys they're going to meet because I haven't actually announced any of the other guys in the band. I like to go through this real quick and go and just announce everybody.
Sure.
We already talked about Rhodes. He's the lead singer. He's the founder.
He's the man.
This is his vision, kind of. He plays guitar also up there with everybody. Bobby, Chronic, lead guitar.
Incredible person, better guitar player, which is not shitting on his character at all, but he's just that good. He's that good.
Yeah, you guys got a great situation with that one. Pags plays the bass.
Yeah, Pags is the jack of all trades. He built out our tour bus. He fixes everything. We can break down on the side of the road and he'll have us going. He's multi. I forget that he can play bass because he's so good at everything else. And then he'll be jamming on stage. I'm like, oh yeah, like also you do that. Like what the? He makes all our merch. He does everything.
Oh, like great guy to have.
Oh yeah.
And Rex Larkman plays drums.
Incredible drummer, awesome person. He's my little homie. That's me and him get on great. We hang out like all the time. We're home from tour too, and just. I met him because I lived in a house for years that we would throw shows at. It was called the Plymouth House, just right up the hill there in like Clark Fulton neighborhood. And his band was playing in my basement. And I just saw him and I was just like, excuse me. I saw him and I was just like, damn, like we were looking for a drummer at the time. I was like, how serious are things with your group? And he's like, oh, you know, this, whatever. And I was like, well, we're looking for a guy, like whatever. And he came through and joined. And like it's just been butter since.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if anyone's seen Tropidelic or seen a video of you guys, they know that you're not playing trombone up there all by yourself. There's usually a trumpet next to you, and you guys kind of do this whole thing together. Mm-hmm. Now, recently you guys kind of got a new guy.
Yeah. So Derek, who was our trumpet player for years and years, he's the guy who like mostly taught me to play the trombone and everything. He's 8 or 9 years sober, and he left the band in September and moved to Florida and opened up a rehab facility. Oh. And just doing the Lord's work, man. He's an awesome person, just loves giving back, and he's very happy. He got married. He's doing amazing. But we got our buddy Rob in on trumpet, and he also plays the keys, and he also can play both at the same time, which is like wild.
Wow.
But I mean, he's got like a degree in the trumpet. He's unbelievable, and it's been really cool getting to know him over the past couple months, and just we've got a new homie now, and he's awesome. And
you didn't have keys before, did you?
Our guitarist Bobby has keys on stage that he'll play like for some songs, but it was kind of just like little like fill-in parts. But yeah, now we have keys like pretty much.
So this will change. This will be another added something you guys can just kind of add to the whole.
The show's wildly different since we got Rob, and I think Much better in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, he's been able to like really like help us like level up and get no pun intended. But yeah, he's just been killing it for us. And again, awesome dude too. So it's been really cool getting to mesh with him.
So do you see anything as far as Tropidelic slowing down? Is like right now, do you feel like you guys are just like full bore and nothing slowing you guys down at this point?
We're pedal to the metal right now. It's like kind of at the, like I've been in the band for 9 years, and it's like so I joined when I was 18 or 19, and we've been touring like 150 to 200 days a year for like 6 or 7 years, like since that's been going, and we've like gotten to where we're at, which is something that I'm like very proud of, and I think is like amazing. But it's like this isn't it. Like, you know what I mean? There's more levels like to attain and like to hit. So it's like right now I think we're in the position where it's like everything we've been working towards all of these years is like finally like lining up and like hitting this point where we have like all of the right people behind us and everybody pushing it in ways, and like everyone's got their jobs delegated that it's like helping move the brand forward even outside of the music. And like right now, like this next year or two, I think is like really the balls to the wall, pedal to the metal. Like, let's see what we can really do with this.
Cool. Now, you know, it's not always that we have a band in here that's as successful as you guys as far as the crowds that you draw, these festivals and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm imagining that there's some crazy stuff that happens, especially, you know, when you're camping with all these people. There's partying going on, there's drinking going on at these places. I mean, that's what I would do. So crazy shit's got to happen. There's got to be stories galore. I mean, you guys got to leave these festivals with more stories than you even know how to tell them all. It's got to be like that, right?
Well, so that's like, it was like that for like a very long time. And then it kind of hit this point like maybe 5 or 6 years ago where it's like, we were doing this 150 to 200 days a year, going full blown. Like, this shit's like, it's a lifestyle choice. It's like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to be in this band, I'm going to do this, whatever. It's like, no, like, this is what I'm going to do. And like everything else in my life is going to suffer because of it. So it's like holding down jobs, like relationships, anything like that. Like, it becomes crazy because this is just like what you're trying to do and what you're focused on. So like 5 or 6 years ago, we kind of hit this point where it was just like, okay, like, you know, we're trying to make like just being rock stars like our life and like the dream. We're trying to make that like a reality. So it's like, if this is the one thing we're going to take seriously, let's take it serious. So it's like, so we don't drink on the road. We don't have any booze on our rider, like whatever. Like, if we have like the day off the next day and we're in like a cool town with some friends, sure, we'll go out and whatever. But it's like,
you just can't interfere with anything.
Straight up. And it's just like I don't want to get drunk and then like the next day have to play a show, because that's insane. Like, you know, right. I mean, also too, it's like, if I feel like shit because I was partying or whatever the hell, like, I get to do it every night. There's people in these towns who get to see us the once or the twice a year. Kind of what I said earlier, like, how dare I put myself in a position to where I'm not going to be the best version of myself for these people. So,
so basically everybody can just rest assured that no matter what, they're going to show up. You're going to get the best form of you guys every time.
So it's like years ago, like, there was like tons of shit going on. That was like wild. That like,
and that can be fun too. I mean, there's a whole thing that goes along with that, but you do realize things suffer.
Exactly. Like when I come home, I'll party or have some beers or do whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
when on your own
we're
time.
on the road, everybody's like, I smoke weed all day, every day. But it's like, but other than that, it's just like, you know, like, I don't drink on the road. I don't whatever on the road. Like, just do our thing and try and keep it on the straight and narrow. I mean, like, we've absolutely seen some like wild shit like over the years, these festivals and stuff. Nothing's like complete. Oh, here's a wild one. We played this. It was called the Peace Through Music Festival back in like 2014 or something like that. And on the first day, like 20 minutes into the first band, somebody got stabbed at the Peace Through Music Festival, and they had to like lifeline the person out of there. And I was like I was in a very vulnerable state of mind, I'll say, when that happened. And I was just like watching this head, like kind of freaking out, like whatever. But it's just like
you go in there thinking this is going to be so nice and peaceful. And it's like, so what happened?
Like, I think we've all just like learned that lesson like so many times over the years. Like, okay, like,
don't expect anything.
When I get drunk on the road in a city where I don't know anybody, at an after party where it's like these people are here to see my show, like, I'm not going to put myself in a position to where it's like you're going to like hold me to any less standard than you did before. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
it's like
right.
Like, when people think you're somebody that, like, I'm not going to say like we're people think we're people that we're not, but it's like I'm a very normal guy, very regular individual, deals with the same shit that everybody else deals with. But there's like people out there who like think I'm a rock star and think that I'm like all this stuff, whatever. We're preaching a positive message, like, or whatever, like, and like, I think it's really important to like let people believe that, like, in a way. And it's just like, I mean, there's like idols that I have, like rock stars who are like were very generous with their time and did very nice things, community work, all that stuff, then something like terrible comes out about them and you're just like devastated. It's
I know
just
what you
like,
mean. It's true.
You need to like let people like, and it's like responsibility. Like I know that people think I'm a certain way, so that helps me be a better person because it's like, it's not just, I'm not the only one looking. My mom's not the only one looking at me being like, what's this kid doing? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, like, it's people who are listening to what you're saying and watching what you're doing. So it's like, be the person that like they need you to be. And like, and again, it helps you be a better version like of yourself. And like,
and you have to be in control to do that.
Absolutely.
And if you get too fucked up, then all of a sudden, and then you don't even remember some of the shit you might have done. You're like, I did what? I said what?
Yeah. And like, honestly too, like nothing like bad's ever happened like that before. But like, I remember this.
It can though. And
oh,
you
sure.
know what I mean? And
I remember this one time like we played this show and I got just like super fucked up after at this like hotel and I was part of a bunch of like friends that I knew. And I met this guy who had like met like that night. And then I saw him like a couple months later at this other show. And he was just like, man, like, just gotta say, bro, like, that walk we took when we were like smoking that joint or whatever, like after this, whatever, like all that shit we talked about, like it really like meant a lot to me. It was awesome, whatever. And I was just like, I didn't even know that I'd met this guy before. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was just like, but like, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
you made a difference though.
I guess so, but it's like, but like, you know, like that's like rude of me. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I just don't want to like,
I know
like,
that's
the same way you don't want to do that in any situation. Like, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
like, there's just people like looking at you and like waiting for you to fuck up and like waiting for shit to happen. So it's like we like really keep it like low key and like and it's not only good for the brand, but it's like it's good for me. Like being on the road, like we have a very set schedule. Like we wake up every day at the truck stop that our bus is parked in. We drive to Planet Fitness. We all work out and shower, and then we go to the show, sound check, play, and then we dip to the next city. So it's like I have more of like a regimented schedule on the road than I do at home because like when I'm here. And I don't have a job, I don't have whatever, I'm just kind of left to my own devices, and like that leaves room to fuck up. That leaves room to like do whatever, just like be an animal, be wild, like you know what I mean? Like So it's like I get the most structure in my life being around the guys in Trop and on the road, and that's not just because of like the schedule we have, but because of like people like Rhodes, Pags, and all them that like set the example of like how to be men and how to like, be the kind of people that we want to be. And it's like it's
you know,
really
like
good.
Is that how you keep a band like you guys together, where you have all these different personalities and all these different things? You're just, as long as you keep on a regiment, you guys, everyone has a defined role. Everyone knows their part. You don't know, nobody's trying to do everything. Everyone's got, you know, is that kind of what keeps it all?
Absolutely.
The glue? Is that the glue?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, like everybody has their own jobs and their own roles and like whatever. And it's just like, no matter what our like personal lives are like different, like when we're home, when we're on the road, it's all for the same cause and the same mission. And it's like, if I'm fucking up, I'm not just like screwing myself. I'm screwing these other guys who have dedicated their lives to try and make this happen. So it's like the accountability we like hold to each other too, which
That's
is
cool.
like but it's like, you know, again, even like everybody's very different or whatever. Like even like when we need a new trumpet player, yes, we're looking for a trumpet player, but we're looking for a roommate. Like, it's like, you know, so it's like, we got to like you, we got whatever, we got to make sure our goals align. We're on the same page, all that. So it's like, I would say it's a wild thing to do, and it's like it's the coolest job in the fucking world, but it's a job.
Hell yeah!
And it's like you
guys are doing it well. You guys are killing it, man. You guys are killing it. Remember, this summer, sunny days, May 19th and 20th.
Oh yeah.
Ever Wild, August 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And tickets, real quick. What will these be available through?
Tropidelic.com.
So just go on the website,
to get it, or like if you go to like our Instagram in the bio, there's a link for everything.
And there's other shows too. You guys are you know. Pat will be posting them on our website also when you guys play out and stuff like that. We'll have it up there so people can go there also to find out what the dates are and stuff, and then go to your website and get tickets, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all just Google it. It's so easy to find. Yeah.
It's awesome talking to you, dude.
Dude, this is such a pleasure.
You.
Like I said, just to plug you guys real quick before I get out of here too. Just like you guys just been putting on for the local scene and bringing on a bunch of my homies and even people I don't know that have like discovered because of you guys, and you guys are kicking ass and working hard and putting on for Cleveland. So like much love, much respect, and
appreciate that.
I'm here because of like the respect you've won from the people that I care about and stuff like that too. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much.
Cool, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hell yeah, much love, dog.
Yeah, dude. All right, man. Tropidelic is one thing, but he also plays out too on his solo stuff. So check out levelupcleveland.com. We can find out when he's playing out, when he does. Go check out Tropidelic. You got a lot of stuff to go do this summer. It's going to be a great time.
Cleveland.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
That'll be fine.